Central West High School. Just wanted to focus on our next tutorial video. This one is focusing on the concepts of Google Forms. Now for ourselves, based off the district needs and what our student needs, we really want to focus on that reflection very heavily on. My other past videos looking at Google Classroom, introductions, review, intermediate and beginning levels, and also with the concept of Parent Square. This is just another separate tutorial focusing on how you can implement review and reflection within your students and making sure they're keeping on track as much as possible during this time. So in the concepts, I'm already on the Google Forms website. So in this area, this is their main homepage where you have different templates and also access if you were signed in through your central account. As you can see, I am right here. In this area, I can focus on different past Google Forms I've done. And yes, I have done quite a few. In those concepts, this is realistically for me, one of the best ways to completely organize myself, not to mention keep an honest track of my students and auto grading to save on time as well. Not to mention getting that feedback back to the students as fast as possible. So first off, what I want to focus on is the home screen here, the templates area where you can focus on and kind of make a Google form, whatever your needs may be. So for example, this is the template gallery. In this area, we are going to focus on the blank quiz in just a moment, but what I really wanted to focus on was these areas with the exit ticket, the assessment worksheets, course evaluations, anything for what you need for club needs or for your own student needs in your classroom, whether it be for history, science, math, English, electives, whatever you have right there, or if you want to focus on for different events, or even your own personal stuff with contact information, having this sent out to parents, focusing on your own personal needs or work needs. This is definitely something to take a look at and just play around and have fun with. But for the most part, we are in fact going to focus on the blank quiz section. Now, on the blank quiz section is an automatic template that Google brings out in these purple desktop background, automatically simplifying it to a basic multiple choice response. Now, what I highly encourage for Google Forms and anything you do through Google is to automatically name your files. It makes it so much easier to find, especially if I open a new tab, I can focus on my different parts of Google Drive. And as you can see on my drive, I have different things separated for all my needs. So I have my history teaching materials I need for all of my classes, so geography all the way through government. My central social science department, our own folder that we share through our own actual group. My senior advisor stuff, Google Classroom, and so on. It makes it so much easier to find different areas and venues and actual file names just doing that early on. It does take some time. I'm not going to lie. There is no shortcut around it, but it definitely saves you some time in the long run if you just simply go ahead and name your stuff and make sure you do that before you send it to any students. That way you can always keep track and reuse it at a later time. So for example, I'm just going to make this a test run. And that's going to be a table. And as always, Google is automatically going to save that file. And then also you can do it right here. It'll also do the same name. If you start from the bottom, it will typically, as you can see, saving, it'll typically have that same name as well. Now, for the form description, that is basically your preference. And especially, I would highly encourage you using it, especially during this time in the off season and us being at home or in isolated locations. Where we're not seeing our students on a regular basis to actually describe and tell them and interview this area. I would highly describe this part as what you need. So this is just for myself, testing reasons, number one. And then right here in these concepts, we now have our own Google form actually made and created. And as you can see, the different icons we'll discuss in just a second, we can actually preview this at any time and see what the students are going to look like when they access this document. So here we go with that first part. Now, the first part, as I said, is deciding what type of test you want to do for yourself. If you want to do this as a review, if you want to do this as an assignment for them to make sure they're actually on task, or any time when we're back in school on campus, you can make these worth point values. As you can see, the answer key is located here, but definitely choosing what you want them to do. If you want to do a short answer, this is typically done within a 5 to 10 sentence response, very short to the point. Paragraph, this is where the actual program will not put a limit on the students or those responding. It'll just keep on going as long as they need. So I definitely would say focus on that part for review, or if you have to have them type out an ACE or ICE-T response, whatever those concepts may be, that's why I would highly encourage those areas. I know social studies and English hit those areas. That's definitely something to keep in mind, especially at the end of each multiple choice test. And as you say, our standard multiple choice, as you can see right here, check boxes, those are typically used for evaluation or selecting, or like choose the best out of 3 out of 5. which one would apply here, and that'd be another idea for multiple choice in those areas. Drop down if you have a large series of options. So for example, you see option 1, option 2, 3, 4, 5. It just keeps going on and on and on, and you just want this very clean and very easy to see. Drop down is what I would highly encourage you using, because you can see the preview. As I say, always test it and take a look at that preview button, and as you see, the question will be here, and they get to choose their answers right there. So you can also do that as a multiple choice if you wish, to make your test not look as so long or just completely dragging on and on and on and on. And I'll show you some examples of that later on. So that's what the drop down is for. File upload, the concept you see, as you can see, the directions for file upload, Google really does a great job organizing and also telling you what the expectation is going to happen. So as you can see right here, files will be uploaded to the form owner's Google Drive. Respondents will be required to assign to Google when file upload questions are uploaded to the form. So in this part, this is where you're asking the students to upload their own stuff, and you'll be notified that this has been uploaded to this question. So that is what the concept is for the continue part. And that's where it's going to ask you the question that you can put right here, and you can allow what type of file. So for example, if I wanted to do this all in one form, you can honestly upload your own essays in this concept, or your own reviews or reflections. If you want to do a multiple choice test and on top of that then turn an assignment, I would highly recommend the file upload button. Very easy feature, keeps things all in one file, one form for you guys to access anytime. So that's what the file upload's for. Linear scale, this is kind of your evaluation, you know, your least favorite to your most favorite. So anything as far as that point, or if you want to focus on, you know, what was your understanding of chapter 1? You know, level, you know, if you choose 1, 0 understanding, you know, choose number 5, you can focus on being the most understanding, and then kind of give some reasons. And yes, you, as always, you can make that 0 as well, or you can change it to a 10 at the highest level. So that's what linear scale. Now, multiple choice grid, that's kind of like we have in our surveys, like SurveyMonkey and things that we've done in the past, the multiple choice grid and the checkbox grid. I typically would not recommend that, but if you are trying to get some feedback, that's another option you can do. But typically, I like to stick to just these concepts, the file upload and the drop down checkboxes and multiple choice. Basically from top all the way to here is what you're really going to focus on. And the most basic one and the most easiest for the students, because we're so used to it, is the multiple choice. So for example, my untitled question, I'm just going to ask, you know, how are you doing today? I can give them some options here. I can say fine, or I can add another here. Okay, hit the tab, enter whatever you wish. Excellent, and make those 3 choices there. Okay. Now in those concepts, you can also, as you see, add an image. So for example, if I didn't want to type out, or if you wanted to add images for our EL students or to help them understand, especially since we're not there to explain things, add images is also a great little feature you can do. Once you have the image in mind for the answer choice or the question choice, you can do that here as well. As I said, the question can also pop up with the insert image as well. So nice little handy visual learning concept right there for you. So that's the concept you see. And as I always double check, and you see my questions here. I have the title right here, and I have my questions and answers right here on my first part. And you can keep doing that over and over again. And what I really, really stress to you all is to pay attention to my cursor right here, is the required section. This right here will save you so much time and so much energy, especially when you have those students who skip answers. This bothers me more than anything else. I definitely highly recommend the required section and have that actually selected. This forces the students to answer these questions before they move on or exit the form. So that's what actually makes sure that they have that all complete. Highly, highly recommend you have that done first thing. And as I said, you can do different parts. You can do the drop down. I can go back to preview, and you can see the different concepts you hear, and it makes it nice and clean and easy. So that's one of my favorite features, is the drop down menu. Now, also, if I wanted to, is an answer key. Google Form will automatically grade your test for you. It does take some time to make. I'm not going to lie. My very first Google Form took me over an hour and a half to make a simple 5-question quiz. But as the practice gets on and the features get more and more developed, it makes it a lot easier for you in the long run. So definitely having that concept of an answer key choice. Now, when you have that answer key choice, so for the first question, I want to say that's my collection one. Obviously, we want more of an in-depth question base, which I will show you an example of that in my government sections. But in that area, you can say, make a point value, make that's the correct answer. And if you want, you can also give feedback. So after they review the test, after they finish, they can see why they got that answer incorrect, or if you want to go opposite, corrected itself. That's the constant you look with the answer feedback. And then once you are done, hit that section, and now it's going to grade for you, and it shows you automatically what you selected as the correct answer. Now, if you want to keep on doing the same format, making sure you don't forget the required section, I highly hit that duplicate pardon, and you can redo it and reformat whatever you wish again on those sections. So it's very, very simple to do. That's the basic concepts we have for Google Forms. Now, how do I have this graded for me? How do I make sure the students are not cheating? Or what is the best way to actually have this on there since it's an online test? Well, here, my friends, are some options for you. In the area you see your settings, you have 4 icons. Settings, preview, we've already gone over. You have your customized theme, which I'll show you at the very end, as well as any add-ons right here. Now this right here, this is more the advanced part. I would not recommend clicking on the add-ons. It can get a lot more difficult than what it needs to be. You can add EasyBib, you can add a highlighter tool. There's a lot of different things you can do with the Google add-ons. Please contact me first or your actual administrator before you go on that concept. So definitely take some time. This is just, again, the basic concepts. We're going to look at settings first. Settings is the most important thing. Before you submit or you're finished with your form, go through the settings, because this is not automatically done. This is the default section for any test you make. Highly recommend you check that box. You don't have to ask for the student's name. You don't have to ask for their information, their email. It'll collect it for you. And when you link it to Classroom, which we will link this one, and I will show you what that looks like, it'll automatically grade and find the correct student for you based off their email address. I can't stress that enough. Now, the response receipts, as you can see right here, the respondents receive a copy of their responses, which means, and I wouldn't suggest this for a test, but if you are doing for a review, or if you are doing it for a concept of just reflection and purpose, do not click this box. Leave this alone unless you want the students to have access to these results. They will see it automatically in some situations when they submit it, but if they exit at any time, they can access this at any time, which means they can share it to any of their friends or fellow students. So please be cautious when you're clicking that response receipts. This right here is automatically. Google Forms is restricted to Central Unified. And yes, for tests, I would always limit to 1 response. That means they have to require to sign to Google, and they can't keep taking the same test over and over again, because if you don't click on that, they can, and Google will take the best test score if you make this a quiz grade. Do not let them edit after submit unless you want them to. Again, that's for the reflection purposes, not a test. And if you want, you can also see summary charts and text responses. So you get more of a detailed information, similar, not exactly, but similar to the concept that we have with Elluminate. It kind of gives you more of that data presentation feel. And speaking of presentation, this is just a simple thing if you want. Shuffling question order. There's no more need to make different versions, which means you don't have to make Form A, Form B, and try to have that simplified. Just click that button and it does it for you. So automatically, if you are having a student side by side, if you are in the classroom, this automatically shuffles for you. The progress report, if it just tells you how many questions they have left, if it is a very long test. So it's not really necessary, but this right here, absolutely, I would recommend as a necessary needs. And you can also have a little message at the end. So Mr. Day, thank you for your time. And that'll be it. And that can be a confirmation message that they got at the end, or you can stick to the standard if you wish. It's up to you. Like I said, it gives you total customability. Your response to be recorded. Thank you. This is the part that is where you want to make it a grade, or if you want to actually make this a locked quiz. What I mean by that is that since it's already a quiz, this will automatically be clicked on there. This is known as Google's new feature as of 2019 is the turn on locked mode, which means they are not allowed to open tabs or other applications on the same device. Now, I know what you're thinking, because they're at home, they can obviously have a different device or a separate device, like a cell phone or a tablet or another computer. I understand that, but unfortunately, this is the only way possible to make this as concurrent or reasonable as possible, and to make sure the kids are actually pushing themselves. So I definitely would urge your students, or urge to you to remind your students that when we do return, you are only setting yourself up for failure if you do not actually take it seriously like it was an actual test. So the locked mode is one of my favorite features, because this is where you don't have to worry about opening tabs on the same Chromebook device that we do in our classrooms. It's very much self-maintained, and it will not let the students open a new tab until they're finished with their test. So that is one feature I love with the locked mode. And by doing so, you can release their grades and that information that we talked about earlier. It can be immediately or later on, and when you decide you want to do that. So that's where you can actually that option right here. So we're gonna hit on save on that point. The options will be taken care of. The point scores tells me exactly how much I have. And then now the customization, the final piece of this Google form. The next one we're going to focus on is how to link this to Google Classroom. This is where you have your option bar. You can choose different images, you can choose different colors, and as you see, it is now changing with each stroke that I'm actually doing. So I'm clicking on each one, and now the background is changing. If you want something simple, that's what I recommend. If you really want to focus on different headers or different pops, they have different areas like this. So really cool, nice little steel guitar. Insert that in there. It actually has a new header, and you can see what that header looks like in this problem right here. So you can see they have a different image. If you wish, it's not required, but if you want to throw the extra flair, you can throw different themes if you wish, and it changes based off the header color need. Same thing with the background color. You can make it darker, lighter, and different fonts if you wish. If you want to make it more formal, make it more formal. If you want to make it more basic, make it more basic. That is more the standard program defaults that Google Form has. And you just exit out, and there you're going to have a brand new form of your own design and your own customizations. Now, the final piece, since that is the basic rundown of how to create and do a form, how do I send this out? Well, you can do two things. One, you can send it out remotely through the form link right here. But my suggestion to you all is to access Google Classroom. So on the Classroom page, I want to show you what this looks like and how to post it. So I will go to my American Government class. And on this section, I will go to classwork. I will then hit create. I will hit quiz. And in that concept, it automatically makes a blank one, but since we've already made one, I can just delete it and I can add what I've already done. And this is gonna be our test run. So in the test run, I can click right here, add it. And now it automatically has this section selected for grade importing. That is what you would suggest, and that is the biggest default you must make sure you are when you're attaching your quiz forms. And as always, lock it down. In that concept, you have the directions, the title, and just like I went over in the Google Classroom sections, you have your organization, how you want that to be shown. And in that concept right here, you can then preview it. And when you preview it, this is what you're going to see on that Google Classroom page. So I'm going to go back to Classroom. Sorry, I did not mean to exit that out. But in that concept, you'll see what the students will see in that area. So I'll give you one example. This is their fall final. So I'll go with them right there, scroll on down. So right here, this was their fall final. Oops. And they get to see that on their actual portal. And you can see the Google form is already here. And by doing so, I can actually import the grades, as you can see right here is done so on that point. So the instructions are very clear. This is what they will see. They will click on the form, and once they access it, this is what will pop up. Now for myself, I've already finished it, and this is what happens with a locked Chromebook when I activate it and when they've already done it. Now for myself, I've already taken the test. I've already done it. This is why you'll see it right here. And it shows that locked mode is on, and only managed Chromebooks can open this quiz. The managed Chromebooks is the central account. They must be in their central account for the lock quiz to work and for them to access it. If they're on their own personal emails, it will not work. So definitely make sure you clarify that in the instructions. Obviously I did not because I did this in class, but for us online, you can easily do that with the instruction page. And you can see right here, as I edit it, I can make those instructions right there. So that is a simple basic run as you see the Google Forms. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to email me or contact through my phone number provided in the email process with this actual attachment along with other videos. And I hope you guys have a good day and hopefully this was helpful. Thank you guys. Have a good one. Bye.